Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today I wanted to take a quick look at how to finish up your eyes as well as model out your eyelashes. Of course, no two character designs are the same, so the needs for your eyeballs might be a little bit different, but this is one approach you can take to making somewhat realistic eyes. And then if you have a more stylized character, then adjust accordingly. So when I opened this up, I realized that my eye, which I'd made in Blender, actually had some odd rotations on it. So I'm going to go ahead and make this eye from scratch. So I'm going to go up to here and click my polysphere button to make a sphere. And going to drag that up and start moving that into place to try and get it to match the eyes I had before. When you're rotating an object, if you hold down the J key, your object will rotate in 15-degree increments, which is a really nice way to snap it to a 90-degree angle. Once I get it to a certain point, I'm going to go to my channel blocks editor, and I'm going to click the polysphere input. And it's important that you don't clear the history until after you have worked with this, because if I clear the history, then that option disappears. But I'm going to undo clearing the history and it comes back. And for my subdivisions, I'm going to add more edges. I think about 24 should be good. And then for my subdivisions height, I'm going to give it 20, just so I have plenty to work with. And then with this selected, I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate it, because I want to do something with that duplicated sphere as well in a minute here. But for now, I'm going to then hit Control H and hide the duplicated sphere, so they can just work on one sphere for now. So one thing that people might not always think about too often is the fact that eyes are not actually completely round. For one, the iris actually dips in kind of like a crater on the eye. And then over the iris, the cornea actually bulges outwards a little bit. So first off, I'm going to make that crater shape for the iris. To do that, I'm going to select all of these vertices, and then I'm just going to pull them inwards. And so basically, this set of faces right here in the middle is going to act as my pupil later when I get into the texturing phase. And these two rows of faces will be my iris. Once I am happy with that shape, I'm going to hit Smooth Preview to see what it looks like when smoothed. And it's kind of unclear where the border of the iris is, so I want to add a bit more geometry so that it does not smooth out quite that much around this border. So I'm going to go select this edge loop, hit Bevel, turn off chamfering, turn down the fraction to about there. And then when I hit 3 to do Smooth Preview, there's now a very clear edge where that iris begins. Then with this selected, I'm going to scale this in just a smidge. I'm going to turn the visibility of my duplicated sphere back on with Shift H. And this is going to be my cornea, which is the clear, transparent outer surface of the eye. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this middle vertice. I'm going to hit B to show my soft selection. Then while holding B, I can click and drag my mouse to expand my soft selection. And then I can pull out that middle vertice and it drags along the surrounding vertices with it. You only want to pull it out a little bit because this is not supposed to be a very drastic difference. It is just a very slight change in shape. And then with my cornea selected, I'm going to assign a new material. And then under the Arnold tab, I'm going to find AI Standard Surface. I'm going to bring up my Hypershade. And then I'm going to give that a new name, call it M Cornea. And then in my transmission, I'm going to turn the weight of that all the way up. And so now you can see that the cornea is completely transparent. And then turning on my wireframe on shaded button, I'm just going to go back to my eyeball. Then I'm going to turn on my wireframe on shaded mode, and I'm going to scale my cornea down so it has a hovering just above the eyeball. I'm going to make sure I have my smooth on. Like that. Should be good. And then with my eyeball and cornea selected, I'm going to hit combine. And then I'll freeze the transformation. And then I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate my eye. So now with my eye duplicated, how do I go about moving it into the exact same position on the other side? Well, to do that, I'm going to go to my top view. I have my eyeball selected. And I'm going to, up here, select the first magnet, which is snap to grids. Return that on. I'm just going to slide this to the center of my grid. Then going over here to my channel box, I'm going to copy my translate X. And then I will freeze the transformation to zero out that translate X. And then I will paste in the previous number I had before in the translate X to move it that far again. And then finally, I will freeze the transformation once more to zero it out. And now both of my eyes are mirrored while still remaining separate objects with their own origins in the center of the eyes. Next up, I'm going to model the eyelashes. To start, I'm going to select these faces along the upper eyelid where I want the eyelashes to connect. And then I'm going to go up here and click my duplicate button in my polymodeling shelf. And I'm not going to give them any sort of offset or anything. I just want them to rest right there. Going back to my object mode, I'm going to select just my new eyelashes object. Then I'm going to go to face mode and extrude. Give it a nice thickness. And then from there, I'm going to just manually adjust the lengths of these edges so I can get the eyelash shape that I want. One nice way to be moving these edges around is by moving them on the axis of the component itself. To do that, I'm going to hold W and then click to bring up this menu. And right now it is moving on the objects axis. I'm going to change that to the components axis. And you can see my handles here flipped around. And so now as I move my edge around, the axis handles will actually change to point in the direction that my edges are pointing. And so from there, I end up spending about 6 minutes just going through and manually adjusting these edges to get the particular shape that I want from these eyelashes. Once I'm happy with that shape, I'm going to go ahead and go to my multi-cut. Put an edge loop right in the middle there. And then I'm going to put an edge loop in the middle here so that it maintains that shape up there. And that's how you make a really quick eyelash. Because there's a little bit of a gap here, once I turn on the smooth preview, I'm going to just kind of move it back a little bit. So first I'm going to center my pivot. Make sure I'm moving in the world space. I'm just going to move it back a little bit, so there's a little bit of overlap. And then I'm going to use the mirror tool. Put on the positive. And now I have eyelashes for both sides. And of course, don't forget to clear your history. And that's how you model eyelashes and eyeballs. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope you have a good day.